And he continues to learn, and he's had a lot more to look at in the space of, 3 or 4 days this week. What do you think he would have learned, Phil, from these 2 defeats?
Look, I think he's got a clear identity of the way he wants to play. I think he's got a clear message of how he wants every individual player to be, and in and out, in possession, out of possession. That will take time, of course. He's alluded to the fact that it's going to take time to implement his style and the way he wants to go about things. But I think when you strip it back and the principles never change, whichever system you're going to play, whichever formation you're going to play. But I do think, if you're going to concede goals like they have and set plays, they're going to find it increasingly difficult.
It may sound like a silly question, Jamie, but how important is actually, as part of this process, he's trying to learn about his team, he's trying to instill all this new information, but how important is he actually wins in these early stages as well?
Well, yeah, of course it is, but there is actually a world where if he would have come in, we all talk about a manager bounce, and if he'd have come in and they'd have gone 5 games on the bounce, winning every game 2-3, 4-0, I think it would have papered over a lot of the cracks because he wouldn't have learned. So probably the best thing that can be happening right now is to see the weaknesses, is to see the fragility in the team where they're not good enough defensively, not good enough going forward. Then he needs time, but at risk of repeating myself, he needs more time than anybody other manager, because under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer they were inconsistent. Under Ten Hag they were inconsistent, and not that Erik Ten Hag was the right man. I think we all figured that by the end. But he looks like he has something. He has a style and a way of playing. But he's going to need time to get to see which players are with me, which players want to run for me, which players are disciplined and want to live like footballers and be a professional and play for a club of the magnitude. He said it this week, didn't he? He said, look, we're a huge club, but we're a big club, but we haven't got big players. And that's what it looks like. So that I always feel when a manager comes in, don't get fooled by it. And probably the fact they're getting bad results is not great for the fans. They want to see him winning straight away. But at least he'll know now who's with him, who's good enough, who isn't. And he will learn a lot more quickly by what's happened at the moment than he will if he'll get fooled by a couple of wins. If they turned it around today and win 4-3, it'd have been like, cool, what a great result. But are we still that good?
Do you think he would have been surprised, Phil, by the scale of what he's taken on? I think you said it when we were watching the game, Jamie. Every result is news for Manchester United, whether they win or they lose.
Listen, becoming the manager of Manchester United is a mammoth task. Ever since Sir Alex Ferguson left, they've had managers come in who have tried to replicate that or come close to that, and it's been very difficult. A new manager comes in, you always want to give them time. You always want to give them, the time to develop the squad, the team. But I like the way he conducts himself. I like the way he speaks. He's confident. He's got this aura about him where he knows what he wants and where he wants to go. So, listen, I think time on the training pitch to implement the way he wants to build up in possession, to be out of possession. I think you've seen clips and little moments in games where you're thinking, okay, you can see the structures there. You can see in possession where they're a transition. They look a bit more sharper. But I think for now it's about putting that package together, putting that complete performance together to try and really salvage something from the season.
I suppose my question is, when is he going to get that time? Because at the moment, certainly, he's got a game every 3 or 4 days, and that's going to carry on with another, what have we got, 6 before the end of December. So could you actually, can he actually use these games to practice things as well, to try players out in different positions? He's certainly rotating his side, 4 or 5 changes per game.
Yeah, he has rotated, but I think he's come in and realised that, they've got the amount of injuries that they sustained last season. I think he's realised that he has to manage everyone, manage the loads, the training loads, especially in games. There's so many games coming up in the Europa League Conference and the Premier League and the Cup games, so you've got to really manage the players. And I think he's doing that, but probably suffering from a little bit of that as well.
There are some big ones on the horizon as well. I don't know if we can have another quick look at those fixtures, but there's the Pilsen one, and then it's the Manchester derby. But after that, it's the Carabao Cup as well.
Yeah,
you're in the quarter-final stage now. You're not far away from the possibility of silverware. So would that stand out almost as the one, even with the Manchester derby looming, the one he would really want to win?
Well, can you nick a trophy this season and get a feel-good factor? You're still creating history at the club that's obviously won so many trophies in the past. That none of them are easy fixtures. When you're in good form, it's hard, the Premier League. But the first one he'll look at is obviously he'll adjust his squad accordingly away at Victoria Pleasant, and then he's got Man City, where that's the first big what you say, game where we'll look at and go, what, I'm starting to get my squad now. This is who I need to be fit, who I need to be playing. And then you can maybe take a little bit more for that. Probably is going to be a best 11 with the players that he has right now. He's a fitness manager. At Sporting, his team run the most in the league, probably almost the most in Europe. He would demand them to sprint. But the hardest thing when you're a manager, when you come in halfway through the season, is to implement that, because you can't start running players in training because games are coming thick and fast. You're playing Thursdays, Sundays. It's very difficult. So he's going to need a lot of time for him to get the players up to the level of the intensity that he needs.
And when you see that City game right now, this is not Manchester City of last season right now. This is a team that's dropped more points today. Might they think this is a chance for us to go and make some headlines of our own?
Look, they've struggled in recent games. Was it 7 out of 8 games they've lost now? I mean, we talk about vulnerability. They've definitely shown a fragility about them of late. They don't look the same City as what they have done in the past. Listen, it's a derby. I always say it doesn't matter form going into those games. Don't really come into it too much. It's a game. It's a big game for both sets of fans, both sets of players, and you know if he can get one over on City, then I'm sure that will give him the impetus to go.
And for the fans as well.
That'd be huge. That could be a turning point. That could be a catalyst then for go on and to really, gain a bit of momentum in the season.
It certainly stood him in good stead before he even turned up at Old Trafford by beating them with Sporting Lisbon. They don't have Gyökeres, unfortunately, Manchester United.